Hey there, everyone. Gather around. It's time for the last regular season patch of the LCS and LEC. This one is fairly small in terms of number of impactful changes, but there are some pretty good targets here. So let's get into it. And this time, we'll start with the nerfs. Ornn has approached nearly 100% pick and ban in pro play across all competitive leagues. Turns out that buffing Sunfire Cape was indeed a buff for a champion that always built Sunfire Cape. As the king of top lane, mid lane, and most prominently the ban list, Ornn needed nerfs, and they were big ones. Up first, a revert of a buff from last September, where he has to now wait again till level 13 to upgrade his first masterwork items, and his teammates need to wait until level 14 or later. On top of that, Ornn's brittle explosion damage has been nerfed down a bit, as you can see over my shoulder. This has ended up being a pretty substantial set of nerfs, and Ornn should stop being 100% pick and ban in pro play. Now, I'm expecting the drop-off to take some time, and his banner will decay week over week until his presence settles around 40% or so. If Ornn is the king of top lane, then Sett is the other king of top lane. Please write your /fiction in the comments below. Sett got 3 nerfs, and the sum total is pretty meaningful. First, his base health regen is down a lot. Now keep in mind, his passive bonus regen that he gets as he gets lower is still fully intact, but he's still getting less total regen, so that's something. Second, his base armor is down by 4. It's not a ton, but it's still 2 to 3% less physical durability across the game. So far, it's 2 nerfs that help people poke him out of lane. Finally, his ulti's slow is half a second shorter. Sett is still very strong. He's probably going to remain a top 3 champ in pro play. Now, we're probably going to see more Sett nerfs in a month or so. One nerf that FlyQuest cares about is Blitzcrank. 3 flat armor down means 1.5 to 2% less physical durability. A few other teams were running Bard, who's actually incredibly strong, but not a lot of teams have been running him. But either way, his late game meep damage is down a fair bit, so fewer teams will be running him, but I think he's still quite strong. So we got the depressing, dour nerfs out of the way. It's time for some happy buffs to champions. Nico nears pro play this patch with substantial buffs to her attack speed, ability power ratios, and ultimate shielding. It's worth noting that AP Nico benefits from the extra attack speed almost as much as attack speed Nico does, and I think AP Nico is ultimately the better build. She is very strong. You should consider maybe one on-hit item somewhere in the build, and is in a really good spot now. We will see scattered Nico play initially, and I think she's going to become a top 5 solo laner in the coming months. Now, we didn't have enough tank support, so Alistair is joining the mix. Now, for what it's worth, Senna and Yuumi were actually topping the support pick and ban rates, with the rest of tanks showing a much more moderate share of champ select. Now, that said, Alistair was nowhere to be found, so 25 base health and a functionally shorter cooldown on Triumphant Roar, his AoE heal, caused him to substantially rise up the ranks. He's in a spot I'd consider balanced, so if teams want to put in the time and add him to the lineups, they'll be rewarded. Kassandra got a bit more damage on her Q via its AP ratio. Much like Alistair, she was in a spot that is slightly weak for the average player and wasn't seen in pro play very much. Another consistent diver here. Games with Kassandra should be pretty exciting, and we'll probably see spotted play this month. I'm not expecting Liz to take over pro play by any means, but she might rear her misshapen head once in a while. Finally, 2 sets of systems changes targeted at top lane melee carries. Up first, an easy one. Turret plates are squishier against melee champions and slightly tankier against ranged ones. You can see here that a champ like Jax deals 20% more damage to turret plates, whereas Ashe deals about the same amount. On top of that, plates are being back to 160 gold, up from 120. So toss a coin to your Witcher, top lane fighter, and let them cash in on that Valley of Plenty, turret plate, whatever. Additionally, turrets now gain even more durability if they're being pushed in large groups, so that will go slower. The second set of changes are buffs to a few melee-specific items. Ravenous Hydra has 6% more lifesteal, Titanic Hydra has an extra 0.5% max health damage, and Blade of the Ruin King deals more damage when wielded by a melee champion. So far, the single biggest winner of these changes has been Kled, and we'll probably see a couple other champions show up once in a while as a result. Camille and Renekton are probably the most likely. And that's it for this episode of The Phreak Show. So get in there and root for your favorite teams. Laugh at my jokes. Like, comment, and subscribe.